Hi, we're here at Human Rights. All right, introduce yourself. Tell us a little about your stand.
Okay, I'm Iman, and this is a presentation on human rights, and most generally just international law about what actually constitutes a refugee, and as opposed to an internally displaced person or an IDP. So refugees are legally people that are displaced by conflict but displaced out of their country, whereas an internally displaced person is displaced out of their home as well, but still within the country. And the rights for each of these people depend upon whether or not they're a refugee or an IDP. A refugee is protected under international law, namely the UN Convention relating to the status of refugees, the 1967 Protocol, whereas IDPs don't have international protection, but they're protected by the state, which is often a problem because states sometimes are the ones responsible for the displacement. So overall around the world there are about 42 to 43 million people displaced and uprooted by war. For IDPs it's about 26 million worldwide, and for refugees there are 16 million. And the top number of IDPs are in Sudan, and the top number of refugees are in Palestine. I don't know. What else?
So, how did you get to know about the refugee camp initiative?
From Emily.
From a friend. So, what did you learn? Like, what do you think was most interesting about about doing this kind of project?
Well, I think just raising awareness, just knowing more about it. I think I've been human rights. I think is the most important component for me, and I've always been interested in that. So the idea of refugee rights and raising awareness about how many refugees there are in the world, because it's a tremendous amount. And
so we can see the wind here. Sorry.
Different human rights violations that are committed and stuff like that, and how each state has a responsibility to refugees and IDPs around the world. So, yeah, I think it's raising awareness is most interesting.
For sure. So how do you think the kind of rights for refugees can be strengthened? Because a lot of the time it seems, at least with the IDPs, that they're quite vulnerable populations. Even refugees outside their own country, of course, are vulnerable. What do you think? Did you come across anything in the literature that points to something that we can do more than international law?
Well, I think NGOs and stuff like that can just lobby, pressuring the government and stuff like that. Because there are a lot of countries as well that haven't signed on to the convention. Like for example, I think I talked a bit about Lebanon and how Palestinian refugees are the most worldwide. But in Lebanon they don't have, Lebanon hasn't signed on to the convention, so the refugees aren't treated as citizens, and they, for example, they aren't allowed to go into different professions like doctors and probably nothing else. They just their rights aren't protected, so it's kind of just finding out which countries aren't living up to their standards, and international pressure and pressure from within, that kind of thing.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much. This looks great.
Thank you.